Hi, I'm Tracy Cardwell from LPCiminelli and the host of the Buffalo Public Schools renovation project, Making It Happen. I'm so glad you tuned in today because we have got a great show in store. We have got a new segment called the Question and Answer segment, so I can't wait till we get to that so you can hear some of the questions that our community are asking. But first we're going to start out with a great interview I had with Assembly Member Sam Hoyt. Sam and I had a great opportunity to sit down and just talk about the Joint Schools Construction Board and the reconstruction project overall. Also, we're starting something new again, our student Spotlight. And this month is Courtney Baxter. Wait until you meet her. She is one dynamic young lady. And then we also were at the Buffalo Public Schools' second annual Scholarship Fair that took place over at Bennett High School. What a great opportunity for our juniors and seniors to just come to an event to learn more about the financial aid and scholarships that are out there for them. So I'm so glad you tuned in. Don't go away. We'll be right back. LPCiminelli and AM 1400 invite you to an evening of elegance and entertainment. The Black Tie for Black History is an event that celebrates the difference makers in our community. The event will be held on Friday, February 26th from 7 to 11 p.m. at the beautiful Stillwater at 483 Delaware Avenue. Hosted by AM 1400 Marnetta Malcolm and Thomas Buford, LPCiminelli is proud to be a major sponsor of this event. Hope to see you all there. Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with Assemblymember Sam Hoyt. And some of you may not know, but he was the driving force behind the JSCB and a lot of the legislation that passed so that we saw phase 1, 2, 3, and now 4 and 5. In our conversation, I asked Sam, being that lead person, if he could explain to us what his efforts were in getting the legislation passed and some of the challenges he faced. And this was his answer.
Well, first of all, this is such an important project. I've served in the Assembly for 17 years now, and I've watched the disparities that exist between suburban schools and city schools. And I've thought forever that we've got this two-tiered system. If you live in the suburbs, you've got state-of-the-art facilities. It seems like endless resources and always brand new equipment and buildings, etc. And then you come to the city, and before we got into joint schools, we did research and we found that the average age of a city school was like 70 years old. 70 years old. And you can't expect children to get a world-class education in a dilapidated building. And so years ago, and it really started with Arthur Eve and was carried on by Paul Tokaz, we came up with this whole concept of the Joint Schools Construction Project, where it was really, state-of-the-art and first-of-its-kind program really in the country, where, as you know, because LPCiminelli has been at this from the very beginning, it was a program where the state would reimburse the city and the school district nearly 100%, mid-90s, for every dollar invested in reconstructing and rehabilitating the Buffalo Public Schools. And as a result, we're in, as you know, the 5th phase of the rehabilitation and reinvestment in all of the Buffalo Public Schools, and really it's been a remarkable project. That said, it wasn't easy because, because it was the first of its kind, there was skepticism, there was worries about the costs, there was worries about would it actually work? Would the final outcome be what we want it to be? And it took a lot of hard work. The entire Western New York delegation, we have a reputation of working very well together, Democrats, Republicans, urban, suburban. Dale Volcker, a suburban senator, led the charge on the Senate side in the first several phases. So it was kind of a team effort where all of us said, if we want to improve our economy, if we want to be a prosperous and successful city, we have to provide the highest quality education we can for our children, and that means high quality facilities.
In further discussions with Sam, him being the lead sponsor, we all know how important this project is to him. So I asked him, going forward, what long-term benefits would he hope to see that the reconstruction project would bring to the city of Buffalo? And this is what he said.
Well, while I'm a champion of new and high-quality facilities as the sponsor of this legislation over the past, I think, 3 phases, I'm also an advocate for education reform. It isn't just the quality of the building, it's the quality of the education. And I believe that we've witnessed over the years the middle-income flight from the city of Buffalo and other cities like Buffalo across the state. I originally thought it was because of high taxes or crime or poor services. That isn't the case. It's middle-income families, black and white and Latino, across the board, fled the city because they didn't feel their children were going to get a high-quality education. They felt that there were better opportunities. I talk about the 2-tiered system in the suburbs. And so they left in droves, and it's had a terribly damaging effect on the entire city, on the quality of life, on the city in general. And so with the Joint Schools Construction Project and now having state-of-the-art facilities for our inner-city children to learn in, we also have to raise the bar in terms of the quality of the education that they're getting. Once we achieve that, and I'm working hard on that front, then you'll see the repopulation of the city of Buffalo. I happen to live on Lafayette in the Elmwood district, and I have tons of friends who live in the suburbs and who say, I'd love to live in Buffalo. I'd love to live where you live. But you know what? Because of the schools, I'm going to stay in the suburbs. And maybe later I'll move in. That's horrible. We've got to have an education system that is first class in the suburbs and first class in the city. And the Joint Schools Construction Project is one step towards achieving that. Now we got to work on the curriculum and the academic program, but you can't do that in overcrowded classrooms, in dilapidated facilities. And so we've achieved one part of it with the help of LPCiminelli, but we need to get to the rest. So, my ultimate goal is having Buffalo being a national model for first-class, world-class education. And we got a long way to go, but we're going to get there.
Okay, lastly, Sam and I discussed the financial situation of the state, and I just wanted him to explain if he felt that it would complicate any of the construction program, even though it had already been approved.
They've been approved, and so it's set in law, it's set in statute. And when the work is completed, the school district gets reimbursed for the costs. That money essentially is budgeted for. And with the governor's proposed executive budget, which was introduced just a short while ago, there's no change. And knock on wood, we in the legislature, obviously, who have been the champions of this, won't allow for some sort of proposal that would have a negative impact on this project. It truly is a national model. Syracuse now and other New York cities are trying to replicate the work that we've done in Buffalo, and there hasn't been anything proposed that would have a negative impact, but I think that if something was proposed, you'd see a very fired up, impassioned group of legislators who are very, very proud of this project. Each one of us that have served in the Assembly or the Senate can look back and say, I was a part of the rehabilitation of every school in the city of Buffalo, every public school in the city of Buffalo. I think back on what I've been able to accomplish as an elected official, and this always will be one of the first things that I point to. So we're not going to let it fail.